Lashann, also known as Ms. Lyrik Broaden, has made a name for herself in the music industry as the queen of positive rap. Coming from an upbringing that would serve as a justified excuse for mediocre living for most people, never limited Lashann's view on what she could achieve. As a child, Broaden was exposed to domestic violence and drug abuse, resulting in her being tossed from home to home. At the young age of 7, she was violated in a way that no little girl should ever experience, and the odds stacked solidly against her. Using music and poetry as an escape from the reality she was facing, her peers began to refer to her as Ms. Lyrik. Due to her uncanny similarities to the character portrayed by Jada Pinkett in the movie Jason's Lyric, she would eventually realize that the life she was leading was headed in the wrong direction, and Ms. Lyrik committed herself to offering back to God what the devil had attempted to corrupt: music. Although music will always be her passion, Lashann has decided to bring others along with her in her rise to success. Not only is she the founder of Shepowerment Movement, but she is also a celebrated plus-size model and the vice president of marketing for Primetyme Dapham Production Studios.
Welcome to De-Stress Theo 2. I'm your host, Alena, and we're here today with
Miss Lyrik, aka the Beautiful Beast.
would you like to tell us about your mental health journey?
Absolutely. Listen, I am a child of ex trauma. I've been through a lot of traumatic things in my life, and I just use those things that I've been through. I've turned my pain into a powerful situation, and now I just created a platform for others that, have had mental health struggles to come forth and speak out. Yeah.
Lyrik, your story is one of incredible resilience. Can you share a moment when music first became more than just an outlet and it became a tool for your healing?
Yeah. I would say music was my first therapist, right? Because I'm a product of the 80s, baby. So therapy really was not anything it was frowned upon, especially in my community. So music was the first opportunity where I had the way to get my frustrations, my hurt, my pain, all of those things. I believe that music is the universal language in the first therapist. Yeah, so I would say it was the pen and the pad for me.
You're known as the queen of positive rap. How do you see music as a therapeutic force, not just for a creator, but also for listeners?
Listen, because, so most of us creators, we go through it in order to share. And have you ever had conversations with somebody that you don't know, and you guys have so much in common? Yeah. And you're like, how do you know my inside of my life? I don't even know you. Because human beings, the experience as a human, right? I don't care your race, your color, your background. A lot of humans go through the same thing. And music is our way to communicate. So that's one of the places where it doesn't matter who you are. You pick up an instrument, and that instrument, the music, the melodies, and then if you're saying something of substance and someone can relate, the listener is going to feel what the artist was going through. So,
in your experience working with other artists, what are some of the mental health struggles that creatives silently battle, and how can we support them better?
Yeah. Depression, anxiety, suicide. That is what a lot of creators battle. And things have gotten a lot, worse since 2020. I've seen so many more. The suicide rate has even hiked up. But a lot of people suffer in silence because they don't want to seem like they're not strong. They don't want to seem like they can't handle what they're going through. So a lot of times people just internally process, and then it ultimately eats them away. And some unfortunate, like my best friend, some people just cannot take the pressure and they decide to take their lives. So this is very serious. I believe that a lot of people suffer in silence and don't speak up about their pain.
You'd mentioned since 2020, how do you see COVID and quarantine as affecting mental health as a whole?
Oh my goodness, I'm gonna say this for real. I am a social butterfly, okay? If I cannot talk to people, do you know how hard that was to sit in the house? For 24 hours alone, right? So how long was that? Months of sitting in the house. I felt like I was trapped. and I'm a normally positive person. I'm a person that's out there. So people that's, social butterflies, they got depressed because, like, how do you function? The people that are introverts, they were all right? Because that's their personality already. But so many other things from the pressure, I feel like the world shifted with 2020, and so many people that weren't getting therapy before started getting therapy, because that was something that no one has ever experienced in our lifetime. That was just like, what are we doing? So that was hard. That was really hard for me. I will have to be honest.
Yeah. Do you think the music industry does enough to acknowledge or support mental health? And how do you think that that can improve?
Well, I think that they're trying. I think that you have a lot of artists and advocates and speakers like myself. It's a lot of artists that are, you have your independent artists like myself, and then you have your artists that's known, A-list, B-list. They're now starting to come out. It's other celebrities, speaking on it. So, and some things have shifted in the culture that are affecting so many people in the music industry, and now they are able to come out of their NDAs and speak on things that they weren't able to speak on before due to being under contract. So I feel that now things have shifted. Now it's almost an even playing field. I don't feel like it's made it yet, but I feel like we're on the way. It's a lot of us that are really speaking up now. So I'm really proud of the expansion, especially in hip hop, for sure.
Yeah. What are some changes that you would like to see sort of on the same topic?
Yeah, I would like to see people make more positive music. I think that some people do things out of what they've seen, and they don't think that positivity is cool. A lot of people, it's like nerds or whatever. You don't feel like that's cool. But I urge people that are different to be themselves. So what I like to see happen in music in the world is people start being themselves again. Like, be creative. Stop following, right? Everybody's so follow me, right? I'm always going to say follow God first. I'm going to say follow Christ. That's what I believe. But if you're going to follow somebody, right, like, look at good examples. Look at somebody that's positive. Look at the things that are positive. Don't get into these negative things, because when you listen to negative things all the time, those are the things that fester in your mind, especially with young people. And then the music that they create gets into your whole soul, your whole inner being, and you don't even understand why you're reacting and behaving a certain type of way. I came up listening to music. I think that my generation was probably responsible for music going, but we're here to correct it now. And I just say, let's be individuals again. Let's be human. Let's see people and let's show love. Let's smile. Let's be nice. Like, hi. That's what COVID did. It kind of made us box in, and we forgot to be humans. Mm-hmm. So I'm ready to see humans again. Like good ones.
What are some examples of the types of positivity that, would be good in, like, leadership, and so people can follow those examples? Absolutely.
I feel like it's time for us not to be silent about the things, right? A lot of things happen because it's a dark. So when you put things in the dark, then you try to cover them up. And so then, but that doesn't mean they don't go away. Like right now we have this table cover on here, but it's a table under here that has a color, and so let's not cover things up. Let's speak out. Let's speak up, so we're not in this silent fight, because this has been going on for decades, centuries of, people needing help, people needing resources, people needing to come together as a community. And I would just really like to see that happen. I just say, like, come on, guys, let's come together. All of us that are on this kick, let's come together and let's build the communities that we need, because no one's going to do it for us. So those that are positive, let's come together and bring our positive energy together, bring our positive resources together, our positive businesses together, and let's build. That's what I believe.
Yeah, and that's perfect. That's, also exactly what we want to accomplish here on this show, being able to sort of give examples and shed light on all of the hot button topics, some sensitive or maybe something that you wouldn't have known before. A lot of what we do here, we're really trying to accomplish that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
You help people process trauma and profit from their passion. How does that healing to purpose journey look like for someone who's just starting out?
Whew. It has been a journey. Healing is a journey, and it's one of the hardest things that I've done in my life. Is just, I smile now, but I had plenty of days where I cried a lot, where I screamed, where I felt no support, where I felt no love, where I felt alone, where I felt no one understood me, misunderstood so many times, black sheep of everything, right? And I just processed that one moment that I didn't want to be that way. So the first thing that you have to realize on this journey, right, is you have to make a decision. Are you going to be a good or a bad person? That's the decision that you have to make. And then you want to do your research. You want to see if there's anybody that you can relate to. And listen, I did it when it was nobody. I had no model, right? So I had to figure it out. It's nobody that's done what I've done the way I've done it. So knowing that intuition, knowing that you got God with you, knowing that you can walk this thing out, you have to stay connected to the spiritual side of you if you're ever going to be a person that tells their story and puts it out in a way, because you're going to be attacked for telling the truth. And that's just throughout history. Anyone that speaks up and stands up for truth is going to be challenged. So I want you to know that you're going to be challenged, but you have to want to tell your story. You have to want to get your truth out. You have to want to help more than you care about the pain that you've been through. And then it turns into purpose, like authentically. It just happens. All of the things start aligning. You start meeting the right people. The dots start connecting, and that's simply what happened for me. I just kept going, no matter how I felt.
Yeah.
I wanted to quit lots of times too.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that. I wanted to quit lots of times. I did, but I had the stick to itness. So, because what my purpose is of helping people heal is more important. Because if I stop, then what about those that stop? Then it's a lot of people that can lose their lives if I don't get up and make a post.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. When you mentioned, the times you'd wanted to quit, would you like to tell of a specific example of like what that was like and how you sort of overcame that?
Yeah. I had some very, very, very big challenges because I would say my mother has some health issues, and my mother is a part of my story and a big part of my story. And I felt that me telling my story with my mother in the worst medical condition of her life, I felt bad. I felt like, how am I going to go out here and tell this story? Because my mom is, unfortunately, people would look at her as a villain in my story, but it's my truth, right? So I'm like, I love my mother, but it's some young girl out there that needs to know that they can make it over these hurdles. And sometimes your mother can be your enemy. They can not be for you, So it's my truth that it was hard for me because my mother is in a medical condition, and I didn't want to put the business out there with her being not able to speak up for herself if someone wanted to ask questions. So it put me at a standstill of something that I know I'm supposed to do. So I had to rise above my personal feelings about it and go to the heart of, am I doing this to hurt my mother? Am I doing this to make her, am I lying on my mother? Am I saying anything about my mother that she didn't do? Am I trying to do anything negative to my mother? Not at all. I'm just trying to tell my story. And I had to realize that my story is important. My voice is important. And as somebody that helps so many, I'm cool to fall back, right? Because I'm cool with putting other people out. But if it's my time, it's my time. And I had to get over the hurdle of trying to fall back into the background when I know that I'm supposed to speak out. Because if you're the one, you're the one. What if Martin Luther King did not speak out? What if Martin Luther King would have just sat and been quiet? I can't do that.
I can especially see how that would help so many listeners who want to tell their stories and to express themselves in that way, but feel like, how will this person be affected? How will this community be affected? How will this situation be affected by the story I'm trying to tell? And to have the courage to tell it is such an important step.
Yeah.
When someone is stuck in depression or anxiety, it can feel impossible to imagine success.
Yes.
How do you help others begin that climb without dismissing their pain?
Yes, we go through the makeover at Shepowerment. Mind, body, spirit, and money. I feel that you have to be a whole person, right? And it all starts with the mind. So we get, one of my favorite people is Joyce Myers. She says, get that stinking thinking under control. I remember waking up 5 o'clock in the morning, hearing this lady on my TV, and I love her because you never know. And it was some middle of the night programming that got me to get my mind together and really start saying, what is stinking thinking? What is she talking about? I'm a stinky thinker because my thinking sometimes get out of whack. So first thing you got to do is the mind. You have to do the mind work. And if you need therapy, if you can't handle it, you have to talk to somebody. Don't hold it in. That, and especially strong people or people that's responsible for a lot or that have to take care of a lot of people or hold things in. Let's not do that. That's been my thing. This is new for me too, guys, right? But, your mind is first. Once that mind is together, everything else will flow.
Suicide prevention is close to your heart. What do you want people to understand about the silent suffering that hides behind a smile?
I started a whole movement because my best friend killed herself. And just to tell the journey, we were 15, so we were teenagers, and I believe she was about 37 when she did. And her life wasn't done. She didn't have children. She didn't have a husband. And here I have a child 2 years later. We were almost parallel in our life. Best friends, We was best friends, right? And one of the things I would tell people is you don't know what your future holds. Like, it's no timetable. She had her life figured out. She wanted the picket fence. She wanted a husband. She wanted 2 kids, a dog. She had that type of dream for her life, right? My dream was to travel the world and do music and all of these things. And she's seen so many people living their lives. And she was yet living a life that was not the life that she wanted to live. And she watched so many people live their lives and she felt trapped. So, and she felt she couldn't communicate. As many friends as she has, as much as she knew I loved her, she did not tell me what was going on. She had a conversation. We planned a trip to New Orleans. I did not know she was sad like that until I found out a week later. So please, for those of you, pay attention to your people. If they get to getting silent and they're normally talkative, if they go away, if they start, being mean or standoffish, like they don't want to be bothered, I'm telling you, love on them. Find out. And if you are the person that is getting agitated, you feel like you're on the edge, you feel like nobody understands you, you're misunderstood, your life timeline is not where you want it to be, you don't feel like you made it, or whatever that is, you don't know. That's not, you still got life to live. So she stopped her life at 37, yet I had a child at 39. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what God has in store for your life. So don't you press the stop button. Give it a chance. Give yourself a chance, because Colonel Sanders, I think he was like almost 70 years old before it popped off for him. Like, give yourself a chance. That's all I would say. Give your life a chance. Just please, because you don't understand who is all affected by you leaving Earth. You know?
Mm-hmm. You founded the Shepowerment Movement to uplift women and visionary entrepreneurs. What mental barriers do you see most that's holding women back, and how do you help them break through?
Women are superheroes, okay? That's our whole back. We do everything for everybody, and 9 times out of 10 we forget about ourselves, our dreams, our aspirations, our goals, the things that we do that make us happy, because now we're moms. And what does my kid like? Do you want to go to the beach? Do you it's like, I'm mom now. Like, what do I like to do, right? So that's what I try to do with Shepowerment, is create a safe space, one, for, mothers and their children. Like, so we do a lot of events where, I'm big on helping kids. That's where I started. So the reason that Shepowerment started was I was working with all these kids, and then I saw so many broken moms, so many moms just being single, taking care of everything themselves, or just being a soccer mom. They have 5 kids, and this one's a star and that one's a star and this and that. I'm like, girl, where's the octopus? We need a community. Where's your tribe, honey? So we became the tribe. I said, hey, let's create a sisterhood where we could come together, because sometimes these kids, these men, these jobs, these businesses, we need a place to come together. And it just organically grew into something so amazing. Just found out so many of these women have powerful stories. They have, just as I'm sharing mine, they're sharing theirs, and it just has grown into a beautiful networking community where, we're really excited to be here in Delaware. We have a few different chapters and, people all over the world that are a part of Shepowerment, and that's just us women of strength, of honor, that have endured, that stand together in sisterhood and to empower each other to come together. We have brunches and different events. We have virtual events. We help each other promote each other's businesses. It's just the master community of sisterhood. I think, we the sisterhood community, girl.
Yeah. Without naming names, would you like to give an example of, one of these women's stories that was really affected you, perhaps? Yes. Oh my goodness, it is so many, so many women that have powerful stories. But I want to just acknowledge, it's a couple, right? There's one woman that's a widow that helped me online. I never met her. So a part of my story is, before I got remarried, I had a husband and he lost his life to cancer, and I was 30 years old. That was extremely hard, right? And being able to see this woman and hear her story, it brought me in to being, aware of myself. I really got to counseling. I really was like, now it's time to talk. So I think that she's a very memorable one. And I have another memorable story here from a beautiful spirit that's right here from Delaware. And that I will be talking about my big sister, Miss Edwina Bell. She has a story of strength and resilience. And I get to actually see her work with people. Yeah. And just to see her love out loud through all of the things that she's been through. And one of her things is that she was addicted to drugs. And my mother was is an addict. And she had inspired me so much for my mother and others to want to help them get their stories out. So when I meet women that have resilient stories, that have champion stories, I want to give them a platform. I want to give them the mic and tell the world about them, right? Because people need to know, if they can do it,
35 years of not being on drugs from being an addict, listen, that's amazing. Some people haven't been on the earth 35 years. So those are the types of stories that we have. We have a lady that was unfortunately kidnapped for 100 days and survived. Real women, and she does conferences all over the world. Dr. Sherry Sims is some amazing women that I have in my network, and I have older, younger, in between. I'm just so inspired. It's like I'm watching their stories like I get the first dibs. But yes, I love it. I love it.
How does creative entrepreneurship serve as a mental health lifeline for people who felt powerless and unheard?
Yeah, I would say use your creativity, right? We have to be creative, especially in these days and times. Take that pain and make it powerful. The best thing I ever did was make $1 off of my pain. The first time you cash in on $1, honey, you'll be like, all right. It feel a little better every time. Not to say that it negates it, right? But it lets you know that it's a powerful situation. God got you. You all right in this situation, because look what happened to you. But look where you are now, and look what didn't happen to you. That's why I tell people, we see what happened to us, but what didn't happen to you. That's the part. And if you are here and you have the breath and you're able, I tell you, we don't have to get creative in these times. Use all your creative gifts. If you sing, if you rap, if you write, like whatever you do, if you paint, like use it, express it, get it out. If you're not a big mouth bass like myself, it's fine, okay? You can paint. You can get others to tell your story. You can find a big mouth bass, and I'll help you tell your story. So if you don't want to tell your story, but you want your story out there, we can still help you. You don't have to hold it in, and the world can still heal. So that's what I love about it.
I really like what you said about like what happened to you, but also really what didn't happen to you. Because I know in my own life, sometimes, just trying to keep going when the mental health gets bad.
Yeah.
You can't always depend on, a friend, a relationship, a community, because not everyone has access to that. But just sort of like just keep going through the curiosity, at least, about what tomorrow is going to be like, and of faith that there's something for you at the end of the road, and that you can make it. And
absolutely.
I in the meantime, I like to do a lot of self-expression myself. Filmmaking, art, music, all.
I could tell you were artsy.
all sorts, and so that's what's the real emphasis on, like, there's more out there for you that you just haven't seen yet, and you just sort of trust, have faith, and sort of curiosity about tomorrow.
Right. So can I ask you something really quick?
Yeah.
So when because you utilize the art for your mental health, so what does that do for you when you're able to take those things, and when you have those moments, like you said, it's only you and yourself? How are you processing?
I like to think of some of the stories I've written. I do a lot of writing and poetry, and I was asked recently why I like to write, and I can easily just say like, oh, I like to express myself, but really, like, I almost feel like I have to, like, it's all bottled up in there, and it's all just spinning around, and to take that circle and put a mark there to where it can end, and sort of make something for myself, not even really for an audience. I get to look at that time in my life and see how I've changed and what I've learned from that, in more than just like a journal entry, but in an artistic expression.
Absolutely.
And if I do share that, I have a Instagram account. I have some art and poetry on there. I can see that I'm not alone. And I think that can be the benefit of social media. We've, talked a lot of the negatives, but,
Yep.
Being able to create sort of a community and sharing myself
Right.
in a very artistic way.
Right.
It's been so helpful in my
Right.
own life.
Right. And I think that's dope, because I just, just you're a young person and we're having this conversation. So I know, because I used to have my pen. I only had, that was my way to express myself. So just letting those that's watching, you hear from two different artists, right, that come two different ways, that you express it. Don't bottle it in, however. And don't be ashamed.
Your music is your ministry, and if someone listens to your work for the first time, what message do you hope sticks with them the most?
I hope that they know that they're a champion. I hope that they know that they're resilient, and that anything that would ever try to stop them, that they're the only ones that could stop themselves, right? So my music is definitely affirmations lit, okay? Lit affirmations. I'm going to have you turned up, honey. But what you're experiencing is life, light, love, right? So I've been able to body the art of, rap and rhythm, and taking, things that I've been through and making it come out in a powerful way where people can dance and relate to what I'm saying. So I feel that you're definitely going to vibe, you're definitely going to enjoy it, and you're definitely going to leave with something powerful, even if you're jumping around.
How can people support and share your mission, especially if they or someone they know are struggling with trauma, anxiety, or depression?
Absolutely. So you said, how could they get in touch with me?
Support and share your mission,
okay.
yeah.
Absolutely. So my definitely shepowerment.org, and that's shepowerment.org. That is my production media company, the initiative. There are definite resources there for you if you're a woman, and now we're taking men and children. It's grown into its own little thing. So we have Shepowerment, He-Powerment, and the Legacy Kids. So if you have any or need any resources for your mental health, you can go to shepowerment.org. That is our main site. If you want to tap in with me as an artist, speaker, whatever, I am MzLyrik.com. I am MzLyrik.com. I have music there. I have everything there. So everything me, even Shepowerment's there. So if you don't know how to spell Shepowerment, if you go to I am MzLyrik, you can find Shepowerment.
All right. And last question. If you could speak to a listener today, just directly, who is thinking of sort of giving up and, sort of succumbing to all of the things that have happened, what would you say to them?
I would say you are important. We need you here. I don't care what you feel like right now. I don't care what those negative voices are saying, because that's their job. Their job is to take you out and have you here short-lived. But you have reason for being on earth. If not, you wouldn't have been born. And if it's your time to go, God knows how to cut your clock off. We need you. You are important. Don't do it. Get help. Talk to somebody. Find somebody. You don't have somebody, it's somebody, because it's always an opportunity for help when it's presented. So if you need help, and I'm telling you as somebody that's been in some of the most grittiest situations, there is a ram in the bush. So if you need help, speak up. Do not suffer in silence. You are important to this world. Had you not been, you would not be on earth. You are important. I don't care who says you're not. I don't care what they say. Do not listen to the negative voices, be it human or be it not human, if you understand what I'm saying. You're important to this earth. If not, you wouldn't be born. That's what I have to say.
It's really powerful. thank you so much for being part of the show.
Absolutely.
That's all we have for today, and it was a pleasure having you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening. De-Stress 302 is a Cause of the World production. This program was produced by members of the Cause production crew. Crew includes Milan Wood, Alana Hernandez. Associate producers are Adam Hubert and Alena Duggan. Produced by Matt Kelly. Our executive producers are Hayat Omar and Dennis Finicaro. This show was brought to you by the 988 Lifeline in Delaware and the Cause. If you or someone you know is struggling with mental health, alcohol or drug use, is in emotional distress, or just needs someone to talk to, contact 988. 988's trained, caring counselors are ready to listen. Call, text, or chat 988 for free and confidential support, 24/7, 365. You are not alone. Subscribe to De-Stress 302 today.